NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, it's time for a wrap up and look at the year gone by and what a year it's been. It's been, in fact, if you ask me, I think this is a year where the opposition has played a larger role than the government. Of course, Prime Minister Modi has consolidated his position with the UP and the Gujarat win. But what's the breaking news in that? The breaking news, I would say, is there's been some sort of movement in the opposition camp. We've had Nitish Kumar once again join the opposition. We've had Rahul Gandhi reinvent himself with another Bharat, with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Congress has held elections after a gap of nearly 3 decades. We've also seen Arvind Kejriwal move to the national stage. There was the Punjab win, and then, of course, he's made a significant dent in Gujarat. So I think this roundtable perhaps will focus a bit more on what is happening in the opposition and what it pertains towards 2024. Joining me on the show today is Sandeep Ghosh. He's a columnist, commentator. Dilip Cherian, image guru, commentator, columnist. Rashid Kidwai, author of 24 Akbar Roads, political historian, commentator. Sandeep, you've seen the happenings within the opposition camp. Let's not look at the BJP for now. What do you see your take on the year gone by as to who will be the players to watch out for in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I take your point about the opposition, but their activity at the end of the year. But I think our memory is short, so we tend to focus on what's happened immediately in the past. But if you really look at the first half of the year, or even longer, I don't think we should take away from the fact that first it started with the massive UP win and 4 states when BJP came back with a bang. That was certainly big. Again, when you're talking about Gujarat, while Himachal, there is a story in that, and that's for the opposition. So there is a lot of things, without dwelling too much on that, what has happened also on the BJP front. So, but what only take I would like to underscore before moving on to the opposition is BJP's machine. It's a great learning for anybody, any individual or any organization, is how they do not get distracted, and their machine, they continue to do things as they are. Even now, right now, you see the way they're moving towards the budget, some steps, etc. So I think that is a key learning. Whatever about surround sound, noise, everything happening there. On the opposition side, taking from the fact that the interesting thing is a lot of things have been done and a lot of things have been undone. So to start with the presidential election and the vice presidential election, when they tried to cobble up some kind of a semblance of unity, even before that, Prashant Kishore was going around, having these tea parties, meetings everywhere. All that seemed to have got undone. And now you see some kind of a churn coming back, all of us excited to see the Congress Bharat Jodo and whether what that entails, etc. So there is, a momentum, because I think what people are realizing that time's running out and they cannot, to use a quote unquote loose term, like fuck around too long. They need to get their act together. Whosoever wants to do what, it's this kind of going round in circles won't work. So I think that is the key thing, and people are taking their stock. Whether it's a Prashant Kishore thinks he needs to go solo, Nitish Kumar trying to figure his way out, Mamata Banerjee trying to consolidate, going back to her, best preserve her, what's there in hand, rather than go all over the place. So everybody is doing that, and Congress is trying to do its bit, and for which I'll reserve my comments. We'll discuss that much later. Okay. But that's what I see. So it's a good part, and the story which we should not miss is through all these things, despite all criticism, I think India has sailed pretty well through the economic front, and the whole, as we are seeing, what's the way things are unraveling in China, etc. Even on the COVID front, I think, and that's something which we should all take a lot of solace from. If the opposition is able to do something, BJP is able to do something, is also because we have had a reasonably, peaceful existence on the economic and the public health front.
Okay, before we go on to that, Rashid, the Congress story really is something I would like you to talk about. Rahul Gandhi reinventing himself, Arvind Kejriwal trying to, jump in into the opposition network.
Yeah, so Priya, I think as the year comes to an end, I think the Congress story is is showing some kind of, promise. The thing of Congress Mukh Bharat and all doesn't look, feasible or likely. I think the biggest takeaway for me as a political commentator is Rahul Gandhi has detached himself from, in a way, electoral politics, and yet he became kind of, relevant.
Hmm.
Because, for all these years since he joined politics in 2004 till date, he was himself, a kind of party to or a player within the Congress, and he looked at the Congress hierarchy or perceived notions of hierarchy as like a big achievement. And when he moved out, when Congress sort of, in a relative term, democratized the office of Congress president, you see that Rahul Gandhi is doing much better. He's playing as per his political instincts, and even the media coverage and the narration and the kind of narrative has become much better. Where does it lead to? I think Rahul Gandhi has kept it very open. 2024 is concerned. The opposition, a lot of people say the opposition is not getting its act together. I just want to remind them, look back, 77, 89, 96, 2004, all the time, whenever the coalition comes when the kind of, scenario is there, opportunity is there. You cannot have a coalition, a year and a half or 2 years before, general elections. So it will come, but let the opportunity come. And I think by going to Vajpayee ji's Samadhi and giving an entire signal, Priya, you may have seen, I have given a reference how, Sanjay Gandhi had gone and met Raj Narayan, and that paved the way. So I think as long as BJP is short of majority, 230 or so Lok Sabha in 2024, there will be an opportunity, and the Congress will be a player, and there will be an alternative government. 4 states, Maharashtra, Bihar, Bengal, and Karnataka, they hold key. You see, because there was alliance politics and all, now alliances have changed. So, and the BJP got, bulk of the seats from 4 states, BJP and its allies. If there is any change, then we are in for very interesting time in 2024.
The 4 states are Maharashtra, Bihar, Karnataka, and
Maharashtra, Bihar,
You said West Bengal.
Bengal, yeah.
okay. So interesting analysis, Dilip. But all this, you're a brand guru. You've been advising a lot of political figures. In terms of brand building, has Rahul Gandhi finally got his act together and done it right?
There's no doubt, but I just want to go back to how the opposition needs to be seen.
Right.
If you look at the whole year, there's been a stabbing, as in Nitish, creating the wedge he wanted, and there's been a strolling, which we'll come to since that is Bharat. There's been a swinging, which is what Himachal did, swinging back to its norm of one side now and the other side next time. And I think that we cannot ignore the fact that there is also a security seeking in what Mamta is doing. If you've seen her tone down opposition rhetoric in recent times. So I would say that each of the opposition elements has done some rebranding, electorally, otherwise, individually, etc. The parts of the opposition that are silent are Akhilesh out of UP, Mayawati out of nowhere, etc. So we need to recognize that and I'm taking on from what Rashid just spoke about opposition coming together, each part needs to build some muscle. And that, I think, has not been the story of 2022. Many parts have gone somnolent. Yes, the opposition, if you consider AAP as part of that larger coalition, has shown enormous energy and strength. Rahul Gandhi branding has been probably the biggest story, but also on the lines of what Sandeep said, because memory is short and this is recent, we are all giving it a huge level of importance.
Right.
Does that mean that Rahul Gandhi is fit to lead an opposition? I'm not quite sure yet. One has to see how shall I say, vigorously his process of engagement with other leaders is, and how realistic that is. It's possible within the Kharge framework, but is that the framework we can depend on and rely on? And is that a vision of what the Congress is going to be?
So Sandeep, Dilip mentioned the other opposition leaders. We already have Akhilesh, Mayawati not joining the Yatra, Jayant Chaudhary. So Rahul's acceptability, this Yatra is really more for himself than for any ally or even for the Congress party, really. How do you see it playing out?
It has to be for himself, Priya. I don't see anything wrong in that.
Huh.
He has to build his own equity, even if he has to command, some authority or respect from the rest of the people, which so far he has been lacking. People have been treating him as a lightweight. So the way I see it is he is not exactly detaching himself from electoral politics, but he's trying to create an aura and a status. People have realized that Modi has got this larger than life figure. So can he counter that with something else and then pivot it to a political thing? Just like in some ways, say, I keep on referring to an Arvind Kejriwal after IAC. He tried to give himself a very, very non-political kind of position, but then he pivoted almost by public demand. We need a politician like you to be among us who's anti-corrupt, etc. So Rahul Gandhi would like to do that and make himself, to that extent, leave the opposition with no chance, opportunity to not align with him. So that is the kind of thing he will have to play there. At the end of it, what they have been trying to do is say that Congress is indispensable. Without that, you cannot have an opposition to BJP, alternative to BJP. So get as many of these people finally willy-nilly align with. That I think is the game plan. Only problem which I find in all this is their dismissiveness about the opposition even right now. While he is talking about Bharat Jodo and everything else, you see his statement in Dosa, when he says that none of these people, regional parties, have got any vision. They are either regional or they represent a community and stuff like that. If you are so disparaging about the rest of it, to get them on board becomes so much more difficult. But it's early days yet. People can change the script as you go along. You can do whether he can do that deftly or not. Only time will tell. And in politics, everything is uncertain, as Rashid says, that we don't know. I think the crucial factors, I agree with him, are going to be these 4 state elections. That will change the mood one way or the other. And BJP doesn't have them coming easy, not only because of the anti-incumbency or what's there, but their own issues. Like what they're going to do with the Vasundhara Raje in Rajasthan, how they're going to tackle Karnataka, even in Madhya Pradesh. Are they going to be able to replace Shivraj Singh early enough to change the horse there? So they've got lots of issues. And to that extent, Himachal has been a microcosm of a learning. A lot of the problems which you've seen in a miniature scale in Himachal would actually afflict them in all these other states. And how much of lesson they've taken out from there and how they manage it going forward, I think would be key.
In fact, Sandeep made a good point. Are we seeing the more and more the Congressization of BJP, Rashid? The internal fighting. ये तो Congress में होता था. BJP was pretty disciplined, the party with a difference, but it was a self goal in Himachal, maybe a self goal in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. Also, we have Scindia versus Chauhan. Each state they're having this problem of warring ambitions, which the center may or may not be able to control.
Yes, Priya, but I think this has got to do with the power dynamics. When you have when we are talking about up to 2022 and looking ahead for 2023-24, we see that there is some kind of behind the scene, whether it's purely speculative, journalistic, but there is some kind of thing of going on. What will happen after 2024 post Narendra Modi scenario? And we have various people, the kind of stories we hear about Uttar Pradesh, the kind of the attempt to kind of discipline Yogi Adityanath. Then there is the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Sandeep talked about Shivraj Singh Chauhan in his continuation or removal or whatever. So there are a lot of contenders are building up for that post Narendra Modi era, and I think that is all having a reflection, and that's why I'm saying that Rahul Gandhi's visit to Vajpayee Samadhi had a lesson for, or was a signal to Rajnath Singh and Gadkari, etc., that if there is a time, then Congress would back, because remember, Congress is looking for an opportunity, and it knows that opportunity is not so much as an alternative government, but within the sort of BJP NDA parivar. Whether that will materialize or not, we do not know. Priya, there is a quote that's been attributed to Mahatma Gandhi ki kabhi kabhi hum apne विरोधियों के कारण आगे बढ़ते हैं. I think Rahul Gandhi's story is that. See, the BJP is very good at event management, and Advani ji had said, and Rahul Gandhi also did this kind of event. Now, the whole thing that, the Union Health Minister said about, COVID thing and Yatra, the doubt about it. I was in a train and the people were saying, there will be a lockdown. I said, why? So, the other extreme, the people are saying there will be lockdown because so that Rahul's Yatra doesn't reach to Jammu Kashmir. Now, if it's a ridiculous thought, but what I'm saying is this is what is going in the public spaces, and that's where I think the BJP needs to be worried about, because that is giving a lot of credence to Rahul Gandhi, has got because of the BJP and the kind of panic reaction it has displayed.
Sure enough, thanks. And we also welcome Ashutosh, founder editor of satyahindi.com, to the show. We were just talking, Ashutosh, about how this year has already been a year for the opposition rather than so much for BJP, of course, consolidating itself. But we've seen the rise, Rahul Gandhi reinventing Arvind Kejriwal, and what it means for the year ahead. So I'm going to just take a quick break and come back and get Dilip and Ashutosh also in this conversation. It's a quick break. Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable as we take a stock of the year gone by and, of course, the opportunities ahead. Dilip, just take a look at what everybody's been saying in terms of, Rahul Gandhi, the opposition. Where do you see this conversation going, the year going?
I think the year ahead looks filled with election activity. But don't forget that the biggest activity going ahead is going to be the rise of Mr. Modi on the world stage thanks to G20. But politically, that is not the message we should be looking at. Politically, the real action will begin only in November when the temple's Udghatan happens. So all of this is only smoke and fire, denoting no fury. The real action will be the kind of astha which can be generated in 2023 with the opening of the temple. So let's keep that as a backdrop to what's going on. Now, all the stumbling and the swinging which I spoke about earlier can result in something if new kinds of alliances can be created in the states where where elections are going to happen. Also, don't forget that the rumor mills in Delhi at the moment are talking of a post-Makar Sankranti cabinet reshuffle, where apparently Shivraj is one of the names being talked about. And if that happens, that means that the BJP is preparing for a post-Shivraj Madhya Pradesh kind of situation. That kind of planning needs to be also, in some senses, watched for. If that happens, will it happen? Will it not happen? Will he agree? Will he not agree? Etc.
Okay.
So, I would say those are the things to look for, and opposition will have to deftly play in the lines of what Rashid said, looking for where the chinks are in a largely unassailable armor.
And these chinks, Ashutosh, Rashid said, could be even within the BJP. He mentioned Rahul Gandhi's visit to the Vajpayee Samadhi, comparing it to Sanjay Gandhi, calling with Raj Narayan, saying that, if there are chinks in the BJP, then Congress could, in a way, offer support to them. Do you see that happening?
The chinks in the BJP can be taken care of by Mr. Modi with the help of ED, CBI, police, income tax, all that. So I think that will be daydreaming to imagine that any kind of uncertainty or any kind of dissatisfaction can emerge in the BJP and can be a counterforce to be. That is impossibility. That can happen only when Mr. Modi loses election badly and he's no longer a winner. For the BJP. So I don't see anything happening within the BJP itself. The point number two, I think this year had been good for the opposition because Priya is saying that this is an year of opposition, which is a news for me, and which in that sense, I think it's a mixed bag.
Your friend Kejriwal is unwell, Shahid.
It's a mixed bag for the simple reason because if Gujarat has been a roaring success for Mr. Modi, and I have been calling this as a magical realism because even after being in government for 27 years, if he could still muster such a huge victory, that means there is something magical there in Gujarat for the BJP. But in Himachal Pradesh, if Congress can put up a fight, can win elections without Rahul Gandhi and the local leaders coming up fighting against the BJP and Mr. Modi saying that you vote only for me and people not listening, that means there is still a hope. But I think the most important factor is that especially Congress is think out of the box. And the Bharat Jodo Yatra has been something which has been out of the box. And I've been saying this, This is just a small step. It's not a giant leap. If anybody's thinking that this is going to turn the fate of Congress party in 2024 and he will be victorious, I think again we are living in fool's paradise. Congress has to slog, and which I have been saying that every political party has a spiritual core. This yatra is basically a rediscovery, is an attempt to rediscover the Congress spiritual core, because the Congress in the last 30 years has been reduced to an election machine. It has forgotten that the people have given mandate to the Congress party, because for its adherence to the secularism, because the adherence to the socialism, its adherence to the building of a modern mind and a scientific temper. And if you start making all kinds of compromises, then obviously you are reduced to election machine. And why people should vote for you if you are not offering them anything in a spiritual sense? I think that's where the Congress failing lies. And this will help Congress only in terms of the discredit which Rahul Gandhi has got in the last many years, to remove a few stains of that.
This reinvention of Congress looking for an ideology, Sandeep, but the ideology they seem to be flirting with right now during the yatra is again a very hardcore left. I mean, you have the presence of what people say Jhola Walas in Delhi, but a lot of left leaders are there, very visible in his yatra. For instance, Tehseen Poonawala came on our show and said, why is Yogendra Yadav walking with Rahul? And then he comes and says Congress is not going to win any votes. Is this the right kind of messaging that is happening from people who are walking in the yatra, and are the kind of people Rahul should be associating with, Sandeep?
See, I am not too bothered or worried about that. If the whole idea for him is to get eyeballs for the Jatra and give people a sense, create that impression that, everybody is kind of coming on board, I don't think that is really an issue to my mind. What so far is happening is he is trying to mobilize the anti-BJP constituency, which may have been, fragmented and scattered around elsewhere, be it with Yogendra Yadav or be it with some other opposition parties. They are sort of, he's trying to get them back into the Congress fold to say that we are the only savior. And therefore, what is happening, the point which Rashid is talking about, people thinking that they're wanting to stop Yatra, etc., that is only relevant for people who are already converted to the Congress fold. Similarly, there are people who were converted to the BJP fold. They are not going to be bothered by this. They will get further polarized into it. So that kind of polarization is really happening. It's not really happening as of now, of maybe chunks of BJP supporters trying to move over to the Congress side to say, okay, we have been backing the wrong horse, or we were, it's a time we kind of changed course or something of that. I don't think that's as yet happening there. The rest of it is, this 230 count of Rashid or a 180 count earlier, they used to say the 180 club. That kind of thing will continue till, we have the actual elections. And I think Ashutosh being a little cynical to say that, within BJP, Modi will have to use ED, CBI or anything, assuming he does, to keep people under check. That's not going to be the case. Unless people, today Modi is in a kind of unassailable position, people can chip in for a chief ministerial position or something of that kind below, but to take a challenge, to dislodge Modi as the BJP leader, thinking that, they will, unless that dream sequence of 180 happens, which I think is still a dream. I don't think that is really a concern for BJP. And last half and second, what we miss about BJP, that day on one of your shows, somebody else was saying BJP has already appointed people to manage each constituency across the country. They are going on their job very methodically. Wherever they have identified weak spots, everything. So that is continuing. They're not distracting. G20 may happen, but for G20, he has a very separate machinery working with Amitabh Kant and others. That is not going to distract his party people. And what's happening in the case of Congress, everybody's energy is focused on Bharat Jodo, who is really looking at the
party affairs. Okay, I'm ending because we're totally out of time, but I want everyone to have a quick last word in. So Rashid, Dilip, then Ashutosh. Yes, Rashid.
I think in 23, Karnataka is going to be a very decisive. Then, of the opposition unity and everything will gain currency, because that's a state which is very laced with a lot of political significance.
Dilip?
Wins matter. All these histrionics will not, because politics is about showing the process of conversion and adding momentum to it.
See, from my standpoint, that the win or the lose, the Congress has to get back its old mojo. Because last time, if you remember, in 2018, they won Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and then they lost all seats except a few in Chhattisgarh. So, assembly election Congress winning is not something which is going to scare Modi in the national politics. What can scare Modi and the BJP seriously is if Congress manage to get a semblance of unity with a clear-cut program and a clear-cut structures, that this is what we are going to do, this is how we are going to do. If there is a semblance of unity at the national level, in the more than 11 states, the opposition parties are entrenched and they are in the government. So that's more than enough to scare. Otherwise, if there is no semblance of unity, there is no unity, then I don't see anything happening in 2024.
So the focus, interestingly, on the opposition, actually, Achyutan, what I said is not a win for the opposition, but there's been some churn or movement in the opposition, whereas Modi has just consolidated himself. So, like, where was the breaking news in that? But in terms of opposition, I noticed we spoke more about Congress and not so much about Kejriwal, despite his Punjab and Gujarat thing, because end of the day, the fulcrum of opposition unity remains the Congress. It is the largest party. So Rahul Gandhi really needs to, all eyes on Rahul and the Yatra. And what happens post that? Does it get into electoral divisions? Does the Congress come up with a comprehensive ideology? And does it become, can he do opposition jodo? That is the big question, really. Or BJP todo, either way. But let's see what happens. Focus is on the Congress really in the next year. Thank you so much, all of you, for this conversation. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.